First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, we appreciate you joining us. We are live streaming on our YouTube channel. We're, of course, at KPTV.com and on the Fox 12 Oregon apps. All great places to watch us live and watch these segments after they happen. Today, we are talking to comedian Sebastian Maniscalco. He's also an actor. He's going to be here in town on Saturday, October 26th at the Moda Center for his comedy tour, and that's what we're going to be discussing in this. But we do also talk about some of the acting side. You may recognize him from The Irishman. He played Crazy Joe Gallo. He also has a movie called About My Father, which is starring himself as himself, where his father is played by Robert Deniro. He's got a show on Max. Lots of stuff in that category as well. So we talk about the tour, talk about the acting side, talk about a few other things as well, including the city of Portland. So all that is right here. Let's jump right into it. Here's Sebastian. We're starting off just talking about the tour so far that he's been on and what it's been like.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been traveling with my two good friends, Pete Correale and Pat McGann, who are headlining comedians in their own right, but they're on the show with me. So it's been great. We've been really kind of absorbing these cities as we go through. In the past, I've just stayed in my hotel room and waited for showtime, but having my buddies on the tour, kind of enjoying the sights and the food of these fabulous cities that we're going to. And Vancouver happens to be one of my favorite, as well as Portland and Seattle.
Well, I mean, I was wondering that too, you know, when you get to this level, because I think I talked to you years ago when you were at Helium here in Portland. And, you know, a little bit of a different stage now, going to the Moda Center versus Helium Comedy Club. Nothing wrong with Helium, but this is bigger. So even though you're playing these huge arenas, you do still have time to go out into the cities and check things out?
Yeah, you know, we'll pop in, you know, maybe in the afternoon. And, you know, I'm a big, I love to eat. So whatever Portland has on the menu, I'm willing to try it. So, yeah, I mean, you know, as much as we can, we try and do an activity just to get out. I like to see the city before I go on stage, because then I will extract stuff that I've seen during the day and bring it to life on stage. I feel like people really enjoy kind of local humor. So if I could get out and about, that's the best way to do it. So if you know of any Portland things that I should maybe know about, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, there definitely are, you know, Portland things. Well, actually, I want to know what your opinions are. Like, coming in right now, I don't know when the last time is you were here. Like, if you were to just start talking about Portland, what would you say from what you've heard?
The only thing that comes to mind right now, and the last time I was in Portland was, I think, pre-COVID, which I thought it was green and the bikes and this, that, and the other thing. But the last I heard about Portland, you had like a city within a city over there. So I was wondering if that's still there, or.
Somewhat, yeah. That's somewhat still part of the equation. Yeah, I think people will get that if you talk about that.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, you know, look at your career. You know, and look at where you're at right now. Like, how does it feel for you? You know, from all this hard work that you put in to get to this level. You know, you're here. You're at the arena, and you've been at this stage for a little while. But looking at your comedy career, you know, how does it feel to be there from where you started?
It's a long road. I've been doing comedy for 25 years, and it was never in the equation for me to do, you know, these large arenas. I was just, you know, looking to make a living doing stand-up comedy. And if that happened to be at comedy clubs, that's fine. But kind of where it's gone is really unexpected for me. I'm not going to lie. I had big dreams, but, you know, not only with the stand-up, but with the movies. You know, my father was played by Robert Deniro in a movie called About My Father that I co-wrote. You know, I'm on this wonderful show called Bookie, playing a bookie in Los Angeles. So it's kind of opened up I mean, listen, I was going on auditions for 15 years, didn't book anything. Now, on the back of the success of stand-up, all of a sudden now these other opportunities have opened up for me, which has been great. You know, I've been blessed to have a wonderful career, and also doing a podcast with Pete called the Pete and Sebastian Show. There's been a lot of things going on, and I'm really proud of it all.
Yeah, you really are balancing a lot. You know, on the acting side of things, I got to say, you know, I love The Irishman and your portrayal of Joe Gallo. I mean, that's a tough guy, I feel like, to portray on screen. And I just have to ask, for myself, because I'm curious, how much research did you do going into that role? How much did you have to find out about him to play that character?
Yeah, so I was kind of searching around, like who knew this guy, who might have kind of came in contact. I read that, I think God, his name is David Steinberg, I think his name was. He was the best man in Joe Gallo's wedding. So I talked to him. I I talked loosely to some people that were involved or kind of attached to that time era. So yeah, I kind of got a gauge of who this guy really was. The fact that I was wearing sunglasses in a movie was something that I always wanted to do. So that was great, and work with Scorsese, who was, I was a huge fan of his growing up, and next thing you know, he's telling me how to act like Joe Gallo. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, being a gangster in a Martin Scorsese movie has got to be pretty high up on the list of amazing accomplishments.
Yeah, it was great. It was surreal, but with De Niro and Pesci, I did a scene with them the first day of shooting, and I had so much anxiety. I was like, can I do this? Is this something that's going to be, and they were gracious. They were like total pros. They helped me throughout the whole process, and I took that experience, kind of built on it for future projects.
Well, how did you develop that relationship with De Niro to where he ends up playing your father in the movie?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, since you met him on The Irishman, you probably called him up and asked him to be your father," which was not the case at all. I didn't have De Niro's phone number. It's not like we were chummy or going out to dinner. For me, it was we got the script to him through one of the producers on the movie, and he loved it. He wanted to read it. A group of actors in New York City to see how it would sound off the page. And shortly after that, committed to the project, and I was like, "Wow, this is like that was our first choice we had, and we got him right off the bat, which was a miracle in itself." But yeah, that's how that kind of fired.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good get for your first try there, and get them right off the bat. Going back to the stand-up side of things, you mentioned you're going to all of these different cities, you're getting to experience them, you're getting to go places. In your career, in this 25 years of stand-up and going all over the place, I'm always interested to find out, what are some of the stranger places that you've performed? Do any stand out to you where it's like, this is a weird place to do a comedy show that you've done?
Well, in 2008, we did a tour of the Middle East, Egypt, Abu Dhabi, Doha, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia probably was, I won't say weird, it was just a little different culturally speaking, because we did an all-girls school and they were all in the hijab, and that's all we saw was eyes. So but they were dying laughing. It was like I never performed to an audience where I really couldn't see their face, but they were really appreciative of the stand-up comedy. There were some restrictions that we had of what we could say and couldn't say. But yeah, that was pretty wild. We went to Lebanon, we went to Dubai. So
Wow.
It was really crazy. This is kind of before all of unrest in the Middle East. It's always been kind of volatile, but this was kind of at a time where comedy was just making its headway to the Middle East, and I was glad to be a part of that whole beginning of it.
That has got to be hard, not as a comedian, as a stand-up comedian in front of the audience, not being able to see the actual reactions from the crowd in the audience.
Yeah, we just kind of saw the veil moving a little bit, and we knew that they were laughing. So, and you could tell a lot from the eyes too. When people laugh, their eyes definitely, they smile through their eyes.
You've got that tell that you can at least recognize that. Well, I mean, doing this so long, you've got acting, you've got your podcast, you got all these things that you're a part of. What is it about stand-up comedy that still draws you back to this? Even after all these years of grinding, and clearly, you're at the top now, but what is it that brings you back to that?
Well, stand-up comedy, there's nothing like it as far as the feeling that you get saying something and getting an immediate reaction from the audience, whether it's positive or negative. Hopefully it's positive. But with acting and all the other forms of entertainment, generally speaking, you're doing a movie, you don't even know if it's funny or not because, you're relying on the director and a feeling that it is funny. You don't get that immediate validation. So for me, comedy's always been my top thing. I mean, I started doing stand-up comedy, and I always go back to it just because it's the most enjoyable for me. And sitting on a movie set for 12 to 14 hours is not that exciting. Going out in front of 20,000 people in Portland is definitely something that excites me. So can't wait to get there.
Well, for people in Portland who are part of this tour coming up here on Saturdays when you're going to be here. So what do you at this point want? What should people expect walking into one of your shows? What's the feeling you want them to get and take away with?
Well, first and foremost, the show is great from soup to nuts. I mentioned the comedians, Pat McGann, and those are my openers. And a lot of times you go to a comedy show, you're like, okay, let's get rid of the opener, get to the main act. Not the case here. And what they're going to see is, more of the same type of observational comedy that you've seen from me throughout the years. A couple years ago, I had some injuries that I was dealing with, and I couldn't be as physical as I wanted to on stage. But now those injuries have since gone away, and I'm really, really back to my old self when it comes to physical comedy. And what I'm looking for is like, listen, I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about anything that's really current event. I just talk about my family, my experiences, my disgust with human behavior. So I feel like when people come, they're going to tap out for 2 hours, enjoy a night of comedy, and leave kind of reciting the jokes and reliving the night. That's, to me, the biggest compliment when people go to their car and go, remember when he said that? So that's what I hope to have happen. And throughout this tour, it's been wonderful. It's just been a really, really great response that we've been getting. And the production value of the show is tremendous. It's in the round. It's a triangle. I've lowered the stage where I'm really kind of close to the stage. You're going to see some crowd work that, generally speaking, I have done in the past, but make it a point now to dive into the crowd, make fun of them a little bit. So yeah, they're going to see a lot, and they're going to love it.
Is that difficult to do crowd work in an arena like that?
I have cameras that point to the person that I'm making fun of, and then
Gotcha.
I put that up on the screen so the whole crowd knows what I'm seeing. So no, it's not. It's actually a lot better in an arena because of the cameras. Sometimes you're in a comedy club or a theater and you don't have that vantage point where, if you're making fun of somebody in the front row and 3,000 people can't see, no one's going to laugh. But, if you throw that up on the thing, you're going to have a good response. So, it's not like I'm malicious in my making fun of people. It's all in good fun. And I think people, especially now want to be part of the show. Everybody's like, oh, I was part of it. They don't want to be just spectators. So it's a good time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's definitely something different than probably from back in the early days. Having cameras like that to be able to zoom in on somebody in thousands of people in that arena like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sebastian, anything else that you would want to share with the people of Portland here, telling them, maybe somebody who hasn't come out to one of your shows before, maybe somebody who hasn't seen, which is not a lot of people, but for the people in Portland, what would you want to say to them?
Yeah, listen, if you don't know who I am or you've never seen a live show, first of all, you have to experience comedy live. There's nothing like it. Yeah, you could go to Netflix and all these other streamers and watch comedy specials, but to actually be there and experience it live, there's a nuance that you don't get when you watch it through the TV, and you're going to see an elevated comedy show. I take very, very serious, putting my act together and providing people with entertainment. They're coming out, they're paying a ticket, they're parking, they're getting a babysitter, and none of that's lost on me. So when I go out there, I give it 100%, night in and night out, and I guarantee that the people are going to leave going, when's he coming back? So, and that's not being, braggadocious or cocky. It's just being like, I've worked at this for 25 years, and I know how much work I put into it, and I know when I go out there, I deliver. So Portland, strap yourself in and get yourself to the show because there's nothing else like it.
There it is. Well, and as you mentioned, you know, from the openers all the way up. So, Sebastian, thanks, man, for having some time to talk to us. You know, congratulations on all the success and the tour and getting to go to all these places and check this out and, you know, take advantage of all that hard work that you put in to get to this level and still performing and being amazing. So thanks for having some time with us.
No, I appreciate you sharing your audience with me, and I'll see you in Portland.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, there we go. Sebastian Maniscalco right here on Fox 12 Now. So I appreciate him being here. And then just to reiterate, that's October 26th at the Moda Center that he is going to be there performing his show for the It Ain't Right tour. All right, we have more coming up here for Fox 12 Now. We are live throughout the afternoon, every weekday. And coming up at 2 p.m., we're going to switch gears. We're going to be talking to Dove Lewis about how to keep your pets safe during Halloween. So we cover a wide range of topics on this show. So that's one of them. Also later on today, we're going to be talking about Portland Union Station and how it is up for sale for a pretty high amount of money. There's a lot of money that's going to be needed to be put into that. And we're going to talk about why that is and who might be buying that. So all of those are segments that are coming up here on Fox 12 Now. If you are watching live, you can join us at 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m. for those segments. But if you're watching afterward, you can always skip right to it, I suppose. So that is on there. Feel free to share it. And don't forget to download that Fox 12 Oregon app. That's a great way to watch all of the segments that we have here as well. But I'll sign off for now, regroup. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.